Today's episode is brought to you by the Tax Defense Group. Tax season is here, and that means that it's time to file. Instead of going through the hassle of walking into an H&R Block, you can call the experts at the Tax Defense Group. They can handle your tax filing anywhere. Also, for a limited time, if you're a W-2 employee, you can save half off your filing. All you have to do is call the Tax Defense Group before April 15th, 2020, and mention that you saw this ad on UCAS Studios. Call the Tax Defense Group today at 800-850-7973. That number again is 800-850-7973, and you can visit them online at thetaxdefensegroup.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Writer Junkie. There are millions of good-paying jobs out there, and what might be holding you back from getting one of them is having an up-to-date, well-written resume. Writer Junkie offers a resume writing service for the low cost of $145, and with only a 3-day turnaround, you can't beat that price and delivery time. Call Writer Junkie today at 805-587-7966, and you can visit them online at writerjunkie.com. Mention that you saw this ad on UCAS Studios, and they'll get right to work. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Lakers Outsiders weekly podcast brought to you by UCAS Studios. I am your host, Gary Kester, here with you as always. I want to apologize first and foremost for not having an episode out last week. As everybody kind of knows by now, this is a pretty crazy time that we're living in with all the coronavirus stuff and not having sports to talk about. I don't know exactly how this pod is going to go. I don't know how long it's going to be. I'll kind of recap some things since really the last time I got on this pod, which was talking about the Lakers beating the Bucks and the Clippers. And, you know, here we are, less than 2 weeks later, but I think by the time I'm recording this, it's a very, very different time that we're living in, and it's very, very crazy. So before we get started, guys, be sure to like this video and subscribe to UCAS Studios and Lakers Outsiders on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, wherever. You can follow Lakers Outsiders on Twitter and Instagram, just at Lakers Outsiders. You can like us on Facebook, and you can follow me on Twitter as well at Gary Kester. That's GaryKester. Yeah, I don't really even know where to start, I guess. It's been very surreal. It's been very, very surreal. I'm just kind of, this podcast is basically going to be kind of like just an audio diary, I guess. But it's been pretty crazy. I think we're about a week and a half, less than 2 weeks or so, since the NBA season basically got put on hold. And sports everywhere have been put on hold. Right now, I mean, who knows for sure if the NBA season is going to resume. It sounds like that it still probably will, just at a later date. At first, the timeline was 30 days and then reevaluate. It sounds like it's at least 8 weeks, so basically 2 months. It sounds like the most realistic thing is going to be a 3-month wait, which would basically kind of reevaluate things in June, and we'll see where they go from there. If the season does resume in June, I don't know if that means that they basically just end it in the regular season and have the current seeding be the playoffs. If that's the case, I would be totally fine with that. And then you could basically have June through August be the NBA playoffs and have the finals in August. And you might be able to, I don't know how they'd figure out all the logistics and stuff like that, but it's all pretty crazy. I think everybody's just trying to figure it out on the fly. It's going to be very, very weird for a lot of people, sports fans, whoever. At the end of the day, it kind of that stuff really takes a back seat to what's going on in the world. It is a very scary time for, just the people that are getting sick around the world, the people that are dying because of the coronavirus, why they're regarded as COVID-19. It's it's scary. It's very, very scary. I think people have kind of learned by now to not treat it like it's just the flu. This is something different. It's something different. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I am supremely educated on this topic. It's just very, like I said, just a very surreal time because of everything that's kind of going on. And you got businesses closed down, stay-at-home orders and things like that. But it's just wild, man. It's just wild. It's kind of funny, I guess, in a sense for me personally. Coming in, I had thought a couple weeks ago, kind of what my life would be like without sports. What would that look like? Just kind of like a hypothetical situation, and then bam, a couple weeks later, it's a real thing. Staying inside as much as I can. Personally, I've been all good. I mean, I haven't shown personally any symptoms or anything, which doesn't really necessarily mean a whole lot because we've seen some NBA players and just people in general test positive for this virus and not show any symptoms. They've been very asymptomatic for 1 to 2 weeks and not even know that they've had it. So it's pretty crazy to know those things and know how fast it can spread. And that's kind of the reason why for those people that are upset or angry that the sports have been shut down. That's kind of why. You lock 20,000 people into one area. If one person comes in with that virus, there's a very good chance that thousands, if not 10 plus thousand, all leave with it. This stuff spreads very quickly. I actually just recently watched the show or the movie Contagion from 2011. It has like Matt Damon, a bunch of other people in it. But if you haven't watched it, I would highly recommend it. It's very relevant to what's going on in the world right now, how quickly germs can spread. So, didn't really highlight the whole sports angle, which of course this is a sports podcast, so I'm trying to keep it kind of in line with sports, but obviously this pod is going to be a little bit different. But personally, I guess just all I could really say, guys, is I know like myself, I'm 27 years old, so my age group isn't really seen as a high risk with this virus. We might deal with some symptoms like coughing, shortness of breath, stuff like that, but generally we would get over it in 2 weeks tops. But with this thing, if you're still going out and still doing things, living your life, that's your choice. That's what you want to do. Personally, I've got parents that are over, that are actually 50 years old. I'm going to be 51 this year. And, grandparents and, older relatives. And, I kind of been thinking about them through this. So it's, if you're a younger age group like myself, I guess that would be just my suggestion is with this, it's not necessarily from your point of view, it's about others. And, that's kind of why I agree with the NBA shutting things down, especially when they did. The first case that came out was Rudy Gobert. And we all just need to come together to do this. I know we all want life to go back to normal, as soon as possible. That's going to take a group effort. It's going to take a group effort. The fact of the matter is we don't know enough about this virus to really put a timeline on it. I've seen a lot of hope that it'll die down in the summer months, kind of similar to what the flu does. But we just don't know yet. We just don't know. And if we, like I said, if we all come together and we all just, have a group effort on this, try and stay inside, limit, the trips that you have to make. Personally, I work full time for a health system, so my job isn't going to get shut down or anything like that. So I do have to go, across town 4 times a week. I work 4 10-hour shifts, but I try to limit my travel basically to work or the grocery store or the gas station. Very essential things. I mean, my gym closed down. So there's been a lot of effort, from a lot of different people to try and limit the spread of this. And I would also just advise people not to panic. It can be very dangerous to people with compromised immune systems, older age groups, very young age groups. I think I'm not 100% sure on that, but there are certain types of people that it can be very dangerous for. So, we want to obviously limit the spread of this and try and keep it under control and flatten the curve is kind of the phrase that has been thrown around. I would highly recommend, if you are on Twitter, or I believe he's on YouTube as well. He released 2 YouTube videos. Friend of mine at 3CB Performance on Twitter released 2 videos talking about the coronavirus. First one kind of a lot of basic info on it, what you need to know, and then a second video talking about kind of how it deals with sports. So I'd highly recommend those. They're very very informative, very relevant, and I think a lot of people could learn a lot of things from those and get a better understanding for it, because you still see mass amounts of people going to the beach in Florida or California, wherever it is. There's still large gatherings of people happening, and it's frustrating because I know everybody wants to continue living their life the way that they do, and even though you might feel like you're not at risk, it's not all about us individually. It's about the country as a whole, or even your neighborhood, your community. Just take care of each other. Take this thing seriously. The quicker that we all do that and we all band together, the quicker life will resume as normal. So that would be my one wish, is that everybody just kind of come together, limit your trips. I mean, obviously you can still go outside and everything. Just try and not go to large gatherings. Stay away from big groups of people, and really wash your hands. Use hand sanitizer, things like that. Wipe down things. Like me personally, I wipe down my desk a couple times a day at work. Just all kinds of things. Just take precautions. Be smart. Be safe. And like I said, the quicker we can all band together, the quicker that we can get back to normal. But at the same time, let's try not to panic. Let's just take precaution, but don't panic. I think kind of the thing with this disease, and maybe it was how it was covered, or whatever, I don't know. But the reason people are, I don't know if I want to say panic, but I will, just because I can't think of a better term right now, I guess. But people are panicking and bulk buying at grocery stores and buying up all the toilet paper, which still boggles my mind why that's the thing that everybody turned to. But the reason that we are staying inside and we are practicing social distancing, maintaining 6 feet distance between each other, all that stuff. Don't treat that as, I feel like a lot of people are treating that as it's because if we get the disease, we're at risk to die. And while that is true, it's a very, very low risk for the vast majority of people. The reason, we need to stay inside, and one reason I think people need to kind of keep this in their brains so they won't panic, is we're trying to, like I said earlier, flatten the curve, which is essentially trying not to overload and just swamp medical facilities, testing facilities, medical providers with just too much to handle. Because if we all, panic and we all spread this disease and we all go to, emergency rooms and hospitals all at the same time, we're you see it in Italy right now. You're seeing it in Italy where doctors are basically being forced to choose who lives and who doesn't. And we have some control over that by practicing social distancing and quarantining yourself, staying inside, practicing good hygiene. If you're feeling symptoms and you're able to take time off work, stay at home, try and, just take all the necessary precautions. Take all the necessary precautions. At the end of the day, we have to take care of one another. We're all being, tested, and we've got to come together. We got to come together and fight this thing together, because if we don't, it's going to get much worse than it is right now, which is pretty crazy to think, because this is unprecedented. For me personally, I know there have been other pandemics, but I don't remember one quite like this. Maybe because some happened when I was younger, and I just don't remember. But this is pretty crazy. This is a first that I can remember, where sports were shut down and everybody's being told to stay inside. Restaurants and bars are closing. Gyms are closing. Non-essential businesses are closing. But yeah, just come together, with a variety of methods. Like I said, wash your hands, hand sanitizer, stay inside, limit the non-essential trips. If you need to go to the grocery store, work, whatever, essential trips are totally fine. But with the grocery store, try to not bulk buy. I know a lot of people are buying, and there's scumbags out there. And yes, I think you're a scumbag if you're buying all the Lysol or all the hand sanitizer and selling it on eBay for $25 a pop. If you need money that bad, I'm a business student at Boise State. I get getting every dollar you can and all this stuff, but that's not helping people. That's helping your wallet, and I feel like that's partly why we're in this position that we're in, for certain things like that. So, yeah, I'm gonna throw it to a word from our sponsors real quick, but I'm gonna try and wrap this up on the coronavirus stuff, and then kind of finish this with how it kind of relates to the Lakers and everything like that. So yeah, here's a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll wrap up the coronavirus talk a little bit. Today's episode is brought to you by the Tax Defense Group. Tax season is here, and that means that it's time to file. Instead of going through the hassle of walking into an H&R Block, you can call the experts at the Tax Defense Group. They can handle your tax filing anywhere. Also, for a limited time, if you're a W-2 employee, you can save half off your filing. All you have to do is call the Tax Defense Group before April 15th, 2020, and mention that you saw this ad on UCAS Studios. Call the Tax Defense Group today at 800-850-7973. That number again is 800-850-7973, and you can visit them online at thetaxdefensegroup.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Writer Junkie. There are millions of good-paying jobs out there, and what might be holding you back from getting one of them is having an up-to-date, well-written resume. Writer Junkie offers a resume writing service for the low cost of $145, and with only a 3-day turnaround, you can't beat that price and delivery time. Call Writer Junkie today at 805-587-7966, and you can visit them online at writerjunkie.com. Mention that you saw this ad on UCAS Studios, and they'll get right to work. Okay, so basically, I've laid out all my thoughts on this. I think people just got to band together and think about others and the impact that it could have. If you have an older, like I said, myself personally, I have parents that are over 50 years old, grandparents that are in their 70s, approaching 80 and stuff like that. So, yeah, just think of other people. Even though this virus or this pandemic may not impact you all that much in terms of a risk factor, just try to think of other people. That's all I could really implore people to think about is do it for others. And like I said, if we work together, the quicker we will be able to get back to normal. And I think that's what we all want at this point. So. All right, coming back to the Lakers. This is a Lakers podcast, so I apologize if the first 15 minutes or so wasn't what you wanted to hear. I wanted to kind of say my piece on everything that's going on in the world right now, and that's it. So, yeah, let's talk about the Lakers, what's going on with the league. Obviously, the first two players to test positive for this were Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. And then Kevin Durant also tested positive for it. And he's not playing this year, but it's he's obviously around the players, and it just goes to show how quickly this virus can spread, because there were 3 other Nets that got the tested positive for it. And obviously the Lakers played the Nets. That was their last game before the NBA suspended its season, and the Lakers announced that 2 players tested positive for the coronavirus. We don't know who it was. I guess we kind of know. I think JaVale McGee's sister came out and said that JaVale McGee did not test positive, which is great to hear, because he deals with asthma and had pneumonia last year. So it's great to hear that he didn't test positive for it. So keep JaVale safe. It doesn't look like LeBron tested positive for it either. He's been posting, home workout videos. He's still grinding away, getting ready, and getting ready for when the season resumes, or if it doesn't, getting ready for next season. So he seems to be okay. At the end of the day, who got it doesn't matter all that much. It's just a matter of keeping the team safe, keeping those guys safe, getting them treatment, quarantining them, and just getting everybody healthy again, and keeping those that are healthy, allowing them to stay healthy. So hopefully, whoever the 2 Laker players were, I don't care to hear their names. Personally, I'm fine with athletes, and Saints head coach Sean Payton came out and admitted that he tested positive for it, and people that are doing that are doing it for a positive cause. Basically spreading awareness and trying to implore people to take it seriously and take the necessary precautions not to spread the disease, or spread the virus, excuse me, and take necessary precautions not to catch it. So it's just a very sobering thing. You look at these athletes, and they're not normal individuals really, and a lot of them have tested positive for this. So it's like I said, it's very sobering to see that happen. But hopefully, like I said, they'll be okay. All indications are they'll probably be okay. Athletes are pretty low risk because of the condition that they're naturally in from all the exercising and working out that they do. So hopefully everybody is okay and gets back to 100%, and life can resume to normal. So, but as far as the NBA season goes, who knows when it comes back? We'll just have to kind of wait and see. Hopefully this season doesn't get scrapped. Hopefully, things start trending more positively going into the summer, and we can get back to normal. I mean, even if they're games that nobody is allowed to attend except for players, staff, essential staff, whatever. I think everybody would be totally fine with that. Obviously we'd love to see NBA Finals games with 20,000 people packed into a stadium, lots of noise, the atmosphere, all that stuff is so much fun. But got to do what we got to do. And if the season resumes and fans aren't allowed in, that's totally fine by me. Personally, as a sports junkie, I'm itching to have it back, but some things are bigger than basketball. Some things are bigger than sports. No matter how passionate you are about it, I'm as passionate about sports as really anybody you'll find. So from that aspect of life, it's been very difficult. But a lot of people are going through a lot worse things out there. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, the NBA season resumes. We get back to Lakers basketball because they were really starting to play well before it shut down, even with the kind of the letdown game against the Nets. And it was a good time. It was a good time. So It's a very good Laker team, and hopefully, they get a chance to go after championship number 17. But like I said, we as a country and we as a planet have bigger fish to fry right now and bigger things to take care of. So yeah, that's really all I got. The next pod that I do, I think I will be doing with Hani Ahmadian, and we will be answering fan questions. So if you have questions, we're hoping to record that this week. So if you have questions, be sure to leave them in YouTube comment. You can tweet them at Lakers Outsiders. You can tweet them at me, at Gary Kester. However you want to leave those questions, leave them for us. We'll answer, anything you want to know. At this point, we're trying to produce as much content as we can, which is obviously very tough with the sports world just being on hold right now. So, but we want to, keep the discussions going. I think it's, sports, even though they're on hold, the sports discussions and everything are a nice little distraction, from the craziness that's going on in the world. So hopefully I can provide that. Hopefully we can provide that. And any suggestions that you guys have, I'm all for it. Just let me know. All I ask is just be respectful about it. And I will do my best to adjust and give you guys the content that you want. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Start of another week, let's stand together. Let's come together and let's go after this thing, and we'll get through this together. We'll get through it together, and we'll get life back to normal. So, all right. Again, I'm getting out of here. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to UCast Studios and Lakers Outsiders on YouTube and all those podcast platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. And like Lakers Outsiders on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Lakers Outsiders. And you can follow me on Twitter as well at Gary Kester. So, all right, guys. I'm getting out of here. Be safe. Take care of one another. Take the necessary precautions. Take this thing seriously. The quicker we do that, again, the quicker we get back to normal life. So, that being said, until next time, this is Gary Kester with the Lakers Outsiders, signing off.